It's the HoopWise Podcast from New England Basketball Journal. A comprehensive look at the basketball landscape in New England, tracking prospects, recruiting, college, and more, with your hosts, Steve Hewitt and Ethan Fuller.
And welcome back to the HoopWise Podcast, part of New England Basketball Journal. I'm Ethan Fuller. As always, Steve Hewitt with me. We have a guest in studio today. It's the first time we've had a guest in studio for a little while.
Yeah,
and
I can't even remember the last time.
Yeah, for quite a few reasons. I'm really excited about this one. We have our MIAA Girls Coach of the Year, Liana Cunningham of North Quincy High, on the pod. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me here. Appreciate it.
I'll give you the full intro in a minute, but most important thing about having you on the pod is I am not so lonely anymore as a Gen Z member here. Usually that means we have a player on, but to have a Gen Z coach, I'm really excited.
It's an historic day for the
That'll
podcast.
be my first question, honestly. So I have a story for myself, and this is putting you on the spot. It's okay if you don't have an answer, but was there a time in the last 2 years since you've been at North Quincy when you've been around your players and they've made you feel old?
I'm honestly gonna say no. They keep me feeling young, honestly. There's haven't been a time where I said, "Oh, do you know this player? Do you know that player?" Because they usually say, "Yeah." So either they're making me feel good or they actually know. So
that's really nice. The time this happened to me back when I was at the Globe and I did the AAU story. I won't rehash all that now, but part of that was I went with this team to a tournament. On the way back, they asked me to pick the music to play in the van. And I was like, oh, I'll play it safe. 2008, great pop year, Black Eyed Peas, Boom Boom Pow. And then one of the players who I won't say her name, like deadpan stares at me and it's like, I was born that year. And it's like, wow, like leave me on the side of the road. I'm so old. But anyway, we're not here to just hype up Gen Z. Liana, as I mentioned, second year coach at North Quincy. North Quincy, unbelievable season this year, going from, I think, 12-10 last year to 20-4, made it to the Division II Final Four. Just in a really awesome year. And I guess I'll kind of start there. Like, was there a point this season where you were like, man, this is, I don't know if it was exceeding your internal expectations, but like, this is really special what we're doing right now?
Yeah, I mean, coming into it from last year, we lost on February 28th, 2024 in the MIAA tournament. And the next day, all those girls that were coming back went right into that gym and started working. And for, 6-7 months on, you couldn't get them out of the gym. You say, you want to take a day? You want to do something, like you want to get your homework done? You want to do something else? They said, no, coach, we got plans. And I said, yeah, we do. So definitely I had high expectations. And they definitely were met, and they definitely were surpassed.
Yeah. Part of it this season, I believe, up until ultimately losing to Medfield in the semifinals, you ended on a 10-game win streak, I believe. Swept Quincy, a huge rivalry win in the season series. Won the Patriot League Fisher Division Championship. Again, made the Final Four. Along the way, beating Notre Dame Hingham in the quarterfinals, which I thought that team was awesome. Obviously, their guards were fantastic. Just like big win after big win after big win. Really impressed a lot of us who watched that team. One of the things I thought was really interesting as I was researching for this pod, I read a story, I think it was in the Patriot Ledger. You had said that you wanted to be a coach since you were 10 years old, which I haven't heard of someone wanting to do it since that young. So why?
Yeah, I definitely, had some big dreams. I always knew that basketball wanted to be always a part of my life. Growing up with it, it definitely shaped a lot about me. And I was able to take those lessons that I learned in basketball and put them in life. And I definitely wanted to kind of bring that back to younger girls. I had a lot of coaches in my years, and a lot of them were male figures. And they were great coaches for me. And I definitely was able to be a great basketball player because of them. But I definitely was missing that relatable aspect with the girls. And I knew that was something I ended up wanting to be able to do. Did I expect it at this age? Probably not, but it couldn't have panned out any better way.
Yeah. Were there not even coaching role models, but I don't know, coaches that you watched on TV or anything when you were a kid that you were like, I want to coach like them, or did you not really think that far ahead?
I definitely, Gino Ariema, huge role model, great coach, somebody that you kind of, strive to be in any aspect. Definitely just watching like Doc Rivers, winning that 2008 championship with the Boston Celtics. I mean, that was huge. I've always, like I said, I just loved basketball. I would record all the Celtics games and just rewatch them, see what they were doing, try to digest the game in a way. And I kind of just knew I had the knack for it. So yeah.
That's really, really cool. And Steve wanted to ask you about this, but before we get into more of the coaching career, playing career too, I think career assists record holder at Quincy High, also single season assist record holder, graduated in 2018. Steve, you had a question off that we were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we have the numbers in front of me. All-time assist leader at Quincy High, right?
Yes, I am.
366.
Correct.
Single season record, 125. I guess I feel like I don't have any data to back this up, but it just feels natural that like point guards are kind of naturally maybe coaches on the floor at least. And did you feel that way playing? Like how did that maybe inform how you coach and how you always been sort of a natural kind of leader on the floor? Like how did those two things go hand in hand for you? Yeah,
I mean, definitely. Speaking from now, I ask my point guards a lot. They are the floor general. They do have the ball in their hands most of the time. So I have to trust them. And I definitely, as a player, gained that trust from my coaches. Able to see reads, able to see things, anticipate, things happening before it even happens. And having that instinct and having that knowledge definitely helps me on the sidelines now because I can see things happening before they happen. And the girls trust me enough to listen, and they do it. And it's been, a great outcome so far.
Yeah. So following Quincy High, you play 2 years at Framingham State, then you spend 2 years at Stoneham as an assistant coach and JV coach. When you were hired at North Quincy, again, having just been at your rival school, what was that? Was there an initial, internal battle for you, or how did that play out?
I was definitely, I don't know if the right word is shocked that I got the job, but I definitely was like, oh my goodness, like it came to realization. Coming from Quincy High and having that career there, you definitely thought about it, but there was no hesitation to want to do it. I actually, the principal at North Quincy High was my principal in middle school, so we have a relationship and a connection there. And like I said, I couldn't hesitate and not take the job. So I definitely was thankful. I did go to Quincy High and everything, but I am a Raider now.
How were the rivalry games this year? One of the things I always think is so cool, because I've been to some of the North Quincy games, and I would say this about Quincy too, is the community support regardless is awesome. It's like one of the better cities and towns in the state when I go and see games. Yeah. What did that feel like for you as a coach for the first time?
It definitely, there was some pressure on it, but there was good pressure. You want that pressure. You want, something to be striving for. And like you said, the community backs us all up. And, at the end of the game, no matter what the outcome is, you can, shake everyone's hand and be like, that was a great show that we put on. And those past 2 games this year, they were incredible. Truly, you couldn't have asked for a better atmosphere, a better game. And having that last game be the one to seal the Patriot League title really meant a lot to me. And I was ready to do anything for those girls so that they could have that moment. And definitely something that I'll cherish forever.
Mm-hmm. Did you hear it from anybody over on the other side on Quincy? Any trash talk happening with people? I'm sure there's still people there that you're connected with and talk to.
I ran into some people either going to the grocery store or just seeing them out, and they were like, we can't talk to you until after the game. And I was like,
dang.
I was like, I get it, and I was like, I want to put my head down. I just want to worry about the game. Obviously it's good having that rival, because again, it keeps the community involved, and it definitely has a great impact on younger girls. They come to the games, they help us with the starting lineups, they're out there for the national anthem, and they're sitting there, they're like, wow, I want to be that girl. I want to go and do that. No matter the school that you're at. That's why it's great being from Quincy and having that little rivalry. And it's definitely grown in these past few years.
Yeah. We talked before this podcast about how you, even as a kid, were coaching Ava Gormley, now at BU, Orla Gormley, superstar, now at Providence. So yeah, I think it's really neat how everyone is kind of working together to build this pipeline. And you see it in your team this year. So many of those kids are underclassmen, but they were really motivated to play. I want to start with Maeve Powers, who I believe was your leading scorer, right? But it was pretty balanced throughout. She was a sophomore captain too. What about her, just even at her age, helped her be an on-court leader for this team?
Yeah, first word I think about when I think of her is her drive, her literal drive to the basket, and then her drive as a person. Second she stepped in, second I met her, she just wanted to get to work. And she really holds herself to a high standard. She loves the game, and, that's something that you can't teach. You want to coach them, you want them to love the game, but, they have to love it within themselves to want to be a part of it. And she definitely really, really loves the game. So I was, very happy to have her.
Yeah, that's really cool. And like going down most of your roster, you had a handful of seniors, but a lot of your leading playmakers were like juniors or underclassmen. I especially want to shout out Alea Colbert, who I didn't know about. And I remember when I first started seeing her name pop up as I'm following throughout the season, I was like, man, how do I not know about this girl? And she's from Atlanta. So I felt a little bit better because I was like, she actually wasn't on our radar. But what was it like to get her into the program and just like acclimate her to everything? Because that kind of move in general for a teenager is really hard. So how was it kind of bringing her in?
Oh yeah, 100%. She also another one that just came right in wanting to go to work. The girls definitely came together and helped her make this feel like a home. And, they've done so much for her. She's done so much for us. So it definitely was an easy transition for her. I feel like she really made her presence known kind of right away. And she kept saying to us, guys, we're going to be really good. We already are really good, but we're going to be really, really good. And she definitely was another voice that we had on the court that we trusted. And, we wanted her to be vocal and be a leader. And she showed that.
What are your favorite memories from the quarterfinal win?
Against NDA?
Yes, against NDA.
Yeah, that hands down goes down as the best game that I've ever been a part of, either playing or coaching. Definitely my favorite game. I just remember that whole day, just, being laser focused, being locked in, doing things just to get ready for that game. And I had so much belief in them, because they had the ultimate belief in me. And I think it showed, I would say more than 50% of the people at that game were rooting for North Quincy.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it definitely felt like a home game, even though we were on the road. And like I said, those girls at times, may have had some foul trouble. So we had to put her on the bench. And other girls stepped up. And, you can't paint a picture for every game and how it's going to work out. Eventually, you just want to win. And the girls really came together and they did anything they could to win. But because, they had that confidence and I instilled that confidence in them to believe in themselves.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Kind of jumping off that, obviously second year, how do you explain kind of just the buy-in from the girls in just 2 years? Is the age gap is that helpful to be so close in age? And how did you form your coaching style? I know you mentioned Gino, Doc. I'm sure you have a ton of coaching sort of motivations and things of that nature. But how do you kind of explain that buy-in that happened so quickly in 2 years?
Yeah, for the most part, I'm a very serious person.
Yeah.
I take things very seriously. And I told them I'm taking this very seriously. I'm not, I don't have any kids. My only job really is teaching and, coming here and I want to put my all into it. So what I do, I expect you to do the same type deal. We definitely, had some times where we were a little lackadaisical, but I knew when to kind of put it back in gear because you want the season to be fun, and obviously I tell them, well, winning's pretty fun. But we definitely added some more aspects to that, but it definitely helped that I was younger. I just came in laser focused. Every time I came into that gym, it was all about them. No matter if it was practice, it was a game, it was all about them. So yeah.
When you're developing your coaching philosophy or even especially your on-court approach to coaching, where are you going? Are you looking at other coaching connections and talking to them about the game? Are you looking at stuff online? Is it just kind of all your own experience as a player? Where do you go?
Yeah, definitely a lot of what I did as a player, and I kind of take that into now. As always, the game is changing, but it really is still the same at the same time. Mm-hmm. It is that fundamental work. It is, playing together as a team. And I owe a lot of credit to my brother. He was the assistant coach, or he is the assistant coach at Quincy High School. And I always just went to him. Me and him have such a great relationship. Mm-hmm. And even when I was younger, he started playing basketball, so I wanted to play basketball. So he definitely is my biggest role model and my biggest influence on the court. So I definitely would go to him and just see if he had any ideas, and he always had an idea for me. And but most of the time it was based on experience. And every game is a new lesson, a lesson learned. So I kind of just would go from that.
Yeah, that must have added to the rivalry.
Oh, it did. Yeah.
What was that like?
I just made sure my parents wore red to the Quincy High versus North Quincy High games, and they would. So
let's go. You have I have your roster pulled up. You had three assistant coaches. Is that correct? Or like an assistant and two JV coaches?
Yeah. So I had one main assistant, Steph Roach, who was my AAU coach when I was a kid.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So she's like the mom of the group. So definitely we had such a good relationship and a good balance where, you know, I had a lot of energy and I would be, you know, hard on the girls, you know, when we needed to be, but, you know, she would kind of bring us down back to the ground and understand, you know, that she was a mom and she knew how to handle girls. So we definitely had a good balance, which I really appreciate. And she was really the glue to this team. Every time during the game, I always felt good because I had her.
Yeah.
You know, I always that's what you want, someone you fully trust. And yeah, it was a great ride, and I have a lot of credit goes to her.
That's cool. Yeah. I wanted to ask, like, how are you learning how to build like the staff relationships too? Because that's something, obviously you've been a teammate in the past, and so I'm sure it's kind of like that, but it's a new dynamic for you. What is that like?
Yeah. So I definitely I keep my circles pretty small. So it's definitely I want people on the bench that I fully trust. And like I said, me and Steph have had a relationship ever since I was probably 8 or 9 years old, you know, and she was the only female coach that I had. And
Wow.
She made the biggest impact on me. And she was another reason why I wanted to do this. So having her and already going through my experiences with her, I knew that it would just be so smooth and flow with these girls, you know, because they had the same visions that I had when I was younger. And that's, again, something that you can't teach.
Yeah, that is really cool. Since you have coached in this area for 2 years, one of the things I've always thought is coolest as a writer is I've noticed there's a really tight-knit coaching community within the state, and you probably see a lot of them online that are kind of like the figureheads of coaching in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. And as a younger person, are there people that you've met that you've been excited to connect with, or just people you've coached across from that you respect a lot?
Oh, yeah. Definitely Mark Nickerson of Medfield.
For sure.
Huge, huge relationship that we've gained, and somebody that, you know, somebody you strive to be. I met him in person when he was having he did the showcase for the public school girls.
Yeah.
And
yep.
I had Maeve in it, and I just kept saying, I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I wish, you know, people knew more about this and like how great this is, because, you know, obviously there has been different pathways that girls can take. So I met him there, and we just developed a connection. We did his jamboree, and he actually was the scorekeeper for the jamboree when we played our first game. So that was before the season, right? The first week into practice, we went and we played Wayland, and he was the scorekeeper, and he was like, I really hope I don't see you guys until the finals. And I was like, really? And I was like, even coming, like hearing that coming from somebody, you know, of that nature, and just somebody that, you know, you highly respect, I was like, you know, if he sees that, you know, I should definitely see that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was at the Easter Mass Showcase thing too. It was a really cool event.
Oh, yeah.
I assume / hope they'll run it back again. So that'll be really awesome.
Definitely.
What do you think in your 2 years has been the hardest lesson that you've had to learn as a coach?
The hardest lesson that I've had to learn as a coach. That's a good question. Hardest lesson that I've had to learn as a coach. I don't really know. I mean, I just like feel so in my element that anything that comes my way, I don't see it as a hardship. I more see it as something that I can tackle and kind of figure out. You know, I think, honestly, again, just having that young age and just being able to relate to them so much, like, goes so far in life. If anything, it might be that I put, like, a lot of time into coaching. If anything, it could be maybe a little less, but I don't think I could ever do that. I think about the season all the time. I, like, rewatch games all the time. But, yeah, I mean, I have such a great support system that really I don't see a hardship. I don't see it being difficult. You know, and I tell the girls all the time, if anything was supposed to be easy, then everyone would be here. And that's why you're looking around and there's only 12 of you, you know?
Yeah, fair. Absolutely.
You mentioned that you're a math teacher at the school.
Yes.
And was it geometry and algebra?
Yes.
And how that kind of intertwines with basketball. Like how does, I mean, I'm sure you're not putting up geometry equations on the whiteboard, but
No.
how do those two things go hand in hand for you, or
Yeah.
with math and basketball?
For sure. So when I was in high school, my high school coach was a math teacher. And he was somebody that I really wanted to be. So it's kind of funny that it goes now into this, because I always loved math. I always loved numbers. And, basketball is a game of numbers. Geometry, we use angles a lot. And, telling the girls, you really got to make that 45-degree angle to get to the hoop. Mm-hmm. And they're like, what, coach? We're not in class right now. I'm like, hey, this is our classroom. We're here to learn, right? So we definitely use some stuff like that. And, like I said, it's a numbers game. So it really does coincide with each other. Math and basketball, they make the best equation there is.
Do you feel like, or I guess, where do you stand on the 3-point revolution, and even like how that applies at the high school level? Because I know obviously the arc's shorter, the spacing is totally different than like a pro level. Mm-hmm. What do you think about it?
I mean, I am a big fan of Joe Mazzulla, so I do like Mazzulla ball.
Okay.
You're gonna,
not a popular take right now.
I know. Unfortunate. It is a touchy subject, but there's still 6 games. There's still 5 games.
At least
we're 2 games in as of this recording.
It can still
down
2-0.
Yeah, I'm not worried. And he's not worried either. But I think that people could say, oh, the 3-point shot, why don't they just try and take it in? But as a coach, I'll never tell my girls not to shoot, And I think the second that you tell a girl not to shoot, she's going to get in her head and she's not going to want to shoot. And then she just second guesses everything and she throws the ball away, and then it's a whole nother story. Luckily I think every time all 5 girls on the court could shoot. So, if they're open, they got to let it fly.
Yeah, that actually, I totally agree with you. And I think I feel like one of the worst possible things you could do for a player's confidence is move the game plan away from what you were telling them to do.
Yeah.
So that is where I absolutely agree with you. And it feels like in a lot of what you're talking about, confidence is so important, whether that's you individually as a coach, because you sound very confident, and it sounds like it's very important that you instill confidence in your players. And so how do you, for yourself internally, what makes you so confident as a coach?
Yeah. It goes back to them. It goes back to the girls, I tell them to not underestimate themselves, so I need to do the same. Mm-hmm. I tell them before every game, I go, guys, Steph Curry could walk into the gym and I literally would not care. I'm just here for you guys. It's not, obviously it's so fun in the big audience and all that. And, we do put on a show, but in the end, my job is to care for them and do the best I can for them. And if I'm not, believing in myself or instilling that confidence in myself, then I can't say anything to them about that.
Mm-hmm. How does it feel for you being, to my knowledge, one of the younger coaches in this space, especially younger head coaches? Do you like that? Is that ever intimidating for you?
I think last year, my first season, I don't know if it was intimidating, but I definitely kind of actually came to a realization that, I just come in as, I'm the head coach, and that's it. But the outside perspective, they didn't really see me as the coach. So it definitely took a little bit of adjustment, and but now I love it. I'm loving it. I'm so blessed and so grateful for it, and I'm happy to be young and doing it with them, because like you said, the whole relationship and being able to relate to them, I think that goes a long way, and not just in the basketball way, but the way the team develops and how they, come together as a team, it really stems from the coach. So if you're not going to put them in a good environment, then, that's a lot on you. So I definitely took a lot of it. And, it just even shows my team being so young, I'm like, girls, you're so young. Mm-hmm. And they don't act like it. So I do the same.
My honest question is, how do you not over-psych yourself for the potential next year?
Oh, I dream about it. You got to take it day by day, and I never really look at the bigger picture. I really look at it day by day, take it game by game, take it practice by practice. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. And, a lot of the girls are playing AAU and they're getting ready, and I know they're really excited to come back. And I think that it's kind of crazy that they were so confident this past season, and I can already see the confidence growing. Mm-hmm. So I definitely think now that they realize that their expectations are, very, very high, but, they're worth achieving,
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's all I have. Do you got anything else, Steve?
Yeah, I was curious for you, talk about how you've been dreaming about coaching since you were 10 or whenever. And I know you're probably trying to stay in the moment and everything, but like, do you have like coaching aspirations, like dreams that, I know you're probably staying in the moment with North Quincy and locking in on next year, but where do you want to coach at the next level? Like what are your sort of goals and dreams with coaching right now?
Yeah. I mean, definitely, like you said, staying in the moment. Really just like looking ahead. Like I just want to kind of make more of an impact on the community around me.
Yeah.
So not necessarily jump into college, more like with younger girls. And, you know, Quincy's such a big city, and it's, you know, you want to see girls wanting to come out and play the sport. You know, I think just starting with that is really important with me. And like, honestly, like I had such a great time playing high school basketball. Yeah. And that, again, has a lot to do with my family and, you know, my upbringing and my coaches and everything. So I just kind of want to give that back to them. Obviously, I love watching college basketball and seeing coaches on the sidelines doing their thing out there. But I don't know. It just kind of means more to me, like being in high school, you know, that MIAA state tournament, like there's that the adrenaline you get from each game. It's like you can't pass that up, you know, and I just love getting that adrenaline and just being around those girls. And like I said, I always loved school when I was younger, and I knew that I always wanted to be a teacher and, you know, go back into that community. So I don't really see myself going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's really cool to appreciate that kind of atmosphere too, because that's something I didn't play high school basketball growing up, and I didn't really get it until I started writing for a little while and being at some of these games. It's like the stakes, even though it's a lower level, it's totally different from like anything else that you'll feel.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah. I think it means so much to them, you know, and you can just tell. I mean, I had such a special group of girls, and you could just tell that they loved it. And it goes beyond just those 24 games, you know. It goes into life. And like these are truly like the most important years of their life. And, you know, I have the ability to make an impact on them. Like I'm just so lucky and so blessed that I want to make the best impact I can.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jamie Marcoux, AVP for Athletics at LaSalle University. We're proud to offer 15 NCAA Division III varsity sports teams. And last year, all of our varsity teams advanced to the conference playoffs. Our student athletes excel both on the field and in the classroom. LaSalle offers over 60 majors and minors and is located just 8 miles from Boston. With one of the most affordable private educations and housing ranked #1 in Massachusetts by Niche, we're committed to providing an exceptional college experience. Visit lasalle.edu to learn more.
Now, we do want to get to full court press. I'm excited about this, so we'll turn it over to producer David Yass. Thank you.
Full court press.
All three of you look nervous, and you should.
I'm very nervous.
Because it is the fine tradition and the challenge that is full court press, where I give 3 questions to all 3 of our panelists. They're unprepared for these questions, and that's why they're sweating. Also, it's a little hot in here, but I did turn on the AC. I hope you guys are comfortable.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, yeah. This is the fill-in-the-blank edition of full court press. I ask a question, you simply fill in the blank. So question number 1, and we'll go around the horn here. We'll start with you, Steve. Yeah.
Pressure's on.
The pressure is on. Sorry, Steve. I was never more heartbroken over a basketball game when blank. I was never more heartbroken over a basketball game when blank.
Wow.
What do you got, Steve?
Damn.
You've never had your heart broken over basketball.
So
Providence fan, there's got to be a game.
It has to do with the Celtics, but like I actually grew up like an Allen Iverson fan. Okay. So I forget what year it was, maybe 2000. The Celtics played the Sixers in the first round, and I just wanted to be different as a little kid, I think, and so I was rooting for the Sixers, and the Celtics killed them in Game 5 to advance to the next round, and I think I maybe shed a tear or two.
Iverson didn't practice enough. That was the problem there. Yeah. Ironic. A Celtics win was a heartbreak for you, but we appreciate your honesty.
Yeah.
I hope you've learned the error of your ways.
Yeah, I matured and became one with my city. So
okay, well, good. Liana, you're up next. I've never been more heartbroken over a basketball game when blank.
last year, so not this past season, but the year before that, when we lost to Quincy at the buzzer beater.
Oh,
Dang.
man.
What? Tell us. Was it an unlikely shot? Was it a 3-pointer? What was it?
Was this an Alyssa Hops moment?
It was,
I think
yeah.
I remember this.
It was a dagger. We missed the free throw at the end to go up by, I think, 2. And she got the rebound, and we kind of just kept backpedaling. And she hit a nasty, unreal shot at the end. So it definitely made me cry.
Did you remember what you told your team after that?
I said, we got to hit our free throws.
Very specific.
That's perfect.
She was really good too. She was
Yeah.
a very, very
Kudos
good
to
player.
her. It was an unreal moment to be
Yeah.
a part of, regardless.
Well, that's a good attitude to have. This is not a good comparison, but I coached my son's, like 6th grade rec basketball team, and we lost in the finals. And I remember saying to them, I don't know if this was a smart thing to say or not, but it was the first thing that came to mind. I said, we're going to shake hands with them. We're going to keep our heads up. We played with pride. You guys played hard, and they beat us. And you know what? You're going to learn from this, because losing is harder than winning. It's easy it's easy for them to what they're doing right now. They just won. Great. They got smiles on their faces. It's harder to lose and learn from it and be still keep your head up and be prideful. So and then since they're in the 6th grade, they forgot all that by the next day. They didn't even care. Anyway, Ethan, never more heartbroken over a basketball game than blank.
All right. Outside of every formative Timberwolves game from when I was a teenager, we will.
Have you explained why you're a Timberwolves fan yet on this podcast?
No, but it's such a. It's too long. Well, we got to designate time.
We got to
Give us
devote
the
an episode to that. Or
Give us the thumbnail version.
I guess we're a little ahead of schedule. So I grew up a Celtics fan. My heartbreaking game I would pick was Game 7 of the 2010 finals, because that was the first. In full honesty, wasn't really into basketball for the 08 championship, so I kind of missed that. But then when 2010 came around, I was like, let's go. I love the Celtics, and they lost. So that's my heartbreaking game to the Lakers, of course. The Timberwolves stuff is KG. When they traded KG, who was my favorite player, I was a little bummed, and I was like, I need a new favorite player because he's not on my team anymore, but I'm going to look everywhere. And so I was like, who's the number 1 pick of this next NBA draft that I care about? I'm just going to pick him. And it was Andrew Wiggins, and I was like, oh, he's the heir to LeBron on the Cavs. This is going to be awesome. Like, he's taking over. And then they trade him over the summer, and I was like, no, I committed. I'm locked in. He's going to be the future of this whole story. He's going to, carve his own legacy on the Timberwolves and lead them to glory. And it was not exactly that. That's not really how it worked out. But so I tortured myself for several years. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good answer. Good answer. Very personal.
There's my short story about the Timberwolves. Yeah.
All right.
Was your heartbreaking game a Timberwolves game? Or it was
No,
a
Celtics game 7.
Okay.
Timberwolves games are more just like, oh, they did the thing again and lost.
They lost. Yeah.
Let's go on to question number 2, and we'll go the opposite way. So, Ethan, you get to go first on this one. My favorite basketball name ever is my favorite basketball nickname ever is blank, and I'm talking about a player's nickname, not a team.
Oh man. Oh,
Best basketball.
This is a great
nickname.
question. I'm gonna give an answer. I'm sure that after I say it, I'll think of something else, so I might blurt one out later. But Time Lord is such a good one. Given the lore of it, it's.
I don't know this one.
So Robert
I was there
Williams, you were there. Wow,
The day he was late. Yeah.
so Robert Williams III. Do you remember him?
Yeah, on the Celtics. Yeah.
So you can correct me if I explain this wrong. He was late to his first ever practice, and the reason he just overslept, right? It wasn't even something crazy.
Or he missed his flight or something.
Yeah, and I don't know who gave him the nickname Time Lord. I think it was just Celtics Twitter or something.
I think it was a Celtics Twitter thing. Or maybe Chris Forsberg or
yeah,
something.
they nicknamed him Time Lord just as a mocking joke because he doesn't know time well, and then it stuck his entire Celtics career, and he always didn't like it, if I remember correctly. He never liked the nickname.
I think he warmed up to it over time.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's a good one.
That one I think is just funny. It's not very iconic, but it's really funny.
It reminds me of a quote by Marvin Barnes, who was a kind of semi-insane player, and at one point the team told him that they were getting on a plane, and since they were traveling over a time zone, they were actually going to arrive before they left, so to speak, right? And he said, You ain't getting me up in no time machine. He was, and I don't know if he really got on the flight or not, but whatever. Liana, best nickname ever is what?
Yeah, probably shout out to my favorite Celtics player, Paul Pierce, the truth.
Good one. Good one.
Yeah.
Now, do you know how he got that nickname?
Yeah, I was going to explain the story, actually.
Maybe Liana knows. No?
How he got the truth. I feel like I've heard of it, but it's not ringing in my head.
They just put it in the documentary, right?
Yeah, it was in the Celtics. That's why it's on the tip of my head. Go ahead, Steve. You can tell us.
It was
quickly.
via my former coworker, C-Bull Pet.
Okay, flex, yeah.
Shout out C-Bull Pet. The Celtics beat the Lakers, I want to say in 2000. I don't know if that's...
Yeah, it was this with the Shaq Kobe Lakers.
Yeah,
Yep.
and Shaq gave a quote after the game. I'm not... Can I swear?
Yeah.
Can I swear on this podcast?
Yes, you can.
That man's a motherfucking truth.
Yeah.
And you can
yeah.
print that, basically, is what he said. So,
Yep.
Kind of a cool moment for Shaq, just showing respect
Yeah.
to
Yeah, that
Pierce.
was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Steve, yours.
Well, that was gonna be mine.
I had it ready.
I always liked Durant. Never liked this, but the easy money sniper.
Wait, he didn't. That's his Twitter handle.
Is it?
Yeah, I think
Easy
it's.
Which one didn't he like?
I don't remember.
The Durantula? Is that
Maybe,
the one he didn't
maybe
like?
it was that. Maybe it was that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like both of them.
Both of them are great.
Yeah.
Okay, so easy money sniper for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Is that his Twitter?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure that's his
it's-
Twitter.
All right, I got it all mixed up. But
All right.
both of them passed the test for me. I like
All right.
both of those. KD's one of my favorites.
Final question for Full Court Press. Would you rather have one about sort of rooting for, like, the passion of rooting for a player, or would you rather have one about the rules of basketball? Any votes? You just want me to pick?
What?
Player.
Yeah, do
All
it.
right.
Jim.
Player, yeah.
Okay. The player I loved, even though most people on the planet seem to not love him, was blank.
This is an alley-oop slam for me. I could name like 30 players, but
So the player I loved, even though most others seem to not love him so much. Steve? It's
I'm starting again.
Well, since Ethan's got one on the tip of his tongue, we can start with Ethan. Go ahead, Ethan.
Andrew Wiggins. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I still remember his 47-point game as a second-year player, and I was like, man, it's over. Like he's next up. And so I mean, I could keep naming other Timberwolves like Nemanja Bjelica. And
Well, did Wiggins go on to just become sort of an embattled player? Is that what you're saying? Like he's not beloved?
He's not beloved. He was considered a not absolute bust, but underwhelming Timberwolves career.
Right.
All-star starter and NBA champion though. So
Yeah.
resume in one day, 20 years from now, everyone will forget the Timberwolves stuff and they'll remember that he won a title. So
Okay.
feeling good.
All right. Well, welcome to the Andrew Wiggins episode of
This was going to happen one day. It was going to happen. Let's go.
Liana, player that you loved, even though he might not have been he or she might not have been the most popular, is what?
That's a good question. I mean, just thinking of like a Boston Celtics perspective, maybe Ray Allen.
Oh, that's a
Great
good one.
answer.
Yeah.
Great answer.
I've always loved him. Great guy to watch.
Yeah.
Even when he was on the Heat,
Yeah,
really, you kept rooting for him.
I did. Yeah.
Okay. Did you keep rooting for Johnny Damon when he played on the Yankees?
No.
Okay, good, because we'd have to kick you out of the studio. So, do you have a favorite Ray Allen moment?
I mean, probably when he broke the 3-point record. Remember that pretty vividly. And honestly, I mean, his shot against the Spurs, that was like
The double bang.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
You hear it like on TikToks or you hear it like on Twitter, and
Yeah,
it
best
just
shot
like
of all time, I
gives me
think.
chills. So
Oh, yeah.
you got to root for him for that one.
Not only was it an amazing shot with almost zero time to spare, but his feet were like a quarter inch from being on the line, on like both lines, on the 3-point line and the out of bounds line.
Right.
He found that little spot. Jeez. My favorite was the one, I think it was a regular season game, but Celtics were down by 2, and the other team had the ball, just had to put the ball in play. You guys remember it was out of bounds around half court, and Eddie House, I think it was Eddie House, came out with an amazing steal, and it's like, stolen by Eddie House, and then he just kicked it over to Allen. It was like, Ray Allen for the win! And of course he nailed it. Oh, my God, I get chills thinking about that.
Yeah.
He was so good.
Good one, Liana. Steve, you've had oodles of time to think about this
Yeah.
now. Unpopular player that you loved was who?
This is probably a difficult moment to tell this one because he's playing so lousy in the series. But I'm going to go with Jason Tatum. I think he's probably loved more so in Boston, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like go on NBA Twitter any day of the week, he's just getting
Nailed.
just crapped on every day for no reason.
People think he's overrated. Is that-
Yeah.
Overrated.
Playoff dropper.
They think he's corny, which like the we did it thing, I guess, was a little.
It was a little silly.
Yeah.
But
Well,
he's like, he should be celebrated in so many ways as just one of the most complete players in the NBA, a great father to Deuce. It's not like this guy has like committed crimes or anything, but he gets just crapped on for nothing.
I guess he probably didn't do himself any favors when he had that quote about, well, I'm one of the best players on the planet. Didn't he say something like that?
Yeah, that was like in the moment after a playoff game.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and he should think he is one of the best players in the NBA.
True.
Or what did he say?
He said something like that. And
What was the
yeah,
exact quote? I forget.
It was like one of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
But you know, but you know what? And I don't know why.
If MJ or like LeBron said that, would anyone have a problem?
Yeah.
No, yeah. It almost hurts him that he doesn't have the swagger
Yeah,
of
I
like
get
a
it. He doesn't have
Jordan.
a personality.
And
care, man.
but yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I don't think he deserves the hate because he's not. I mean, in a league full of players that are crybabies, petulant.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of unlikable players.
There are, and it's written all over their face sometimes. And he's usually just calm, cool, and collected, and he plays tough, plays hurt.
Yeah.
All right, Jason.
He deserves better.
Hot
Jason
take:
Tatum.
Jason Tatum's actually good at basketball.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's going to show it in the series eventually.
Oh, okay. You heard it here first.
I agree.
I'm worried about when this episode gets published. We're gonna have some it depends how
To
many games have
reiterate,
happened.
as we record this, the Celtics are down 0-2 to the Knicks.
Yeah.
But who the heck knows? By the time this posts,
Yep.
you might be a genius, Steve, or you might definitely not. But either way, you did fabulous, as did all three of you in full court press. Well done. And Jason Tatum bobbleheads all around.
Oh, okay.
And back to you guys to wrap things up.
All right. Yeah, that was a great episode. I loved a lot of the coaching discourse. Thank you for explaining a lot of that. And the full court press is a great segment too. So thank you, Liana, for coming on. Really excited to see the career continue to rise. And yeah, for Steve Hewitt, as always, I'm Ethan Fuller. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.